Well, I believe the movies and television is a primary cause of what we see in the United States with the epidemic of sexual addiction, the epidemic of exhibitionism and voyeurism.
Sometimes it helps if you say hooey.
Oh, it does?
Try.
Oh, all right.
Now, hooey.
Like calling a pig?
Yes, ma'am. Hooey.
Oh, all right. Hooey.
A little bit louder.
Hooey.
Maybe you weren't watching close enough. Did you see that balloon in the hole?
No.
You didn't see that.
Is your child sexually active? Well, nearly a decade ago, 57% of the 17-year-olds who responded to a Lewis Harris poll said they were. That may be changing, though. On the show today is Paul Turner. He's with the organization called True Love Waits. And also coming up, David Foster is here. He's the author of the book, Sexual Healing. He'll be with us.
All right, well, practical jokes and magic. Larry's going to pay a visit to a place called Plummer's Country Store and Museum, long name. And the owner of that store is a man who definitely has a funny bone. Also, later in the show, we have Bill Bennett, and he's going to perform some magic with a message.
So you got your basic variety show today.
Basic variety, and we'll be right back with our first guest after this.
Okay, stay with us.
I mean, think about it. If you can't stomach a commitment to God, it just makes good sense not to be sexually active.
Welcome back. Our first guest is Paul Turner. He's the spokesman for the True Love Waits campaign. Glad to have you with us. More and more teens seem to be sexually active today. How does True Love Waits deal with that? Or what is True Love Waits?
Well, True Love Waits is a campaign that was begun about 2.5 years ago, just giving teenagers a platform to take a stand for something that is right. We presented it to about 1,200 youth leaders that had come together here to Nashville for a convention and just said, we've got to find a way to encourage those teenagers who don't want to become sexually active, who all this pressure is going on around them.
There are several of those or not?
Oh, I think there are. I don't think it takes a rocket scientist to figure out that there are a number of teenagers who are involved sexually, but there are a number of teenagers that needed a platform to come out and stand, listen, we don't want to be doing this. A lot of teenagers will find themselves kind of being backed in to sexual activity, not really wanting to, but the peer pressure was so strong, what else to do? And so the campaign was begun to encourage those teenagers to say, hey, listen, there are a number of teenagers who want to be abstinent. And it's okay. I don't think a lot of teenagers even knew that abstinence was an option for them. I know a lot of teenagers I've talked to, they'd never heard of it.
And what kind of response are you getting from this?
Well, the response has been overwhelming. In July of 1994, we met in Washington, D.C., and on Friday, July 29th of that week, we were able to stake out on the mall in Washington 211,000 commitment cards from teenagers who said, listen, we're willing to make this commitment.
Hi, my name is Lisa White, and I'm here from Louisville, Kentucky, and Washington, D.C. Me and 184,000 other people have made a commitment to God to save ourselves until marriage.
With all these cards out here, it just shows that there are a lot of great kids out here that are part of this nation that is going to make it a lot better.
Realizing that every one of these cards were signed by Christian kids. We're talking about Christian leaders for tomorrow. We're talking about hope for our country, hope for the world.
209,412, 413, 414, 415.
Man, teenagers are finding that they're not alone. That there are some other teenagers out there who say, hey, listen, we want to do what's right too. You know, and if nothing else, it makes good sense. I mean, think about it. If you can't stomach a commitment to God, it just makes good sense not to be sexually active. Think of what's happening in this nation alone. And in the nation of Africa, we got a call from Uganda. This is an interesting little story. They called and said, listen, we've got to have True Love Waits. And they saw it twofold. One, Teenagers in Uganda are wiping themselves out. The AIDS epidemic is just running rampant. The president of Uganda, his wife, got a hold of True Love Waits information and said, we've got to have this. So she presented it to her husband and it's a smart husband doing what his wife said. He mandated in the schools that the message of True Love Waits and abstinence be taught. As a result of that, not only has the AIDS epidemic slowed down among the teenage population, but also there's a real revival that's happening in the nation of Uganda. That's very exciting. That was one of the offshoots that came out of this. We thought that, you know, if we could get teenagers to be sexually abstinent, that would be exciting. But at the rallies that were happening, and we're talking some big-time rallies, 5,000 to 6,000 kids would come together to celebrate the fact that they want to be abstinent. And a number of kids accepted Christ at this. You know, we had no idea that something like that would happen. So it's been really exciting.
What kind of comments do you get, like flack, from groups like Planned Parenthood or the Livists or the ACLU or whoever? What do
a lot
say?
of people have said that this commitment really is putting shame and guilt on those teenagers who may have found themselves already sexually active. And it's just the opposite. If you read the commitment, it says, believing that true love waits, I make a commitment to God, myself, my future mate, my family, my future children, to be sexually absent from this day forward. We want to offer them forgiveness. God is a forgiving God. He doesn't condone sex outside of marriage by any stretch of the imagination. But we offer to kids, listen, you want freedom back, you want hope back, you want that shame and guilt gone, God can do that for you. And He wants to do that for you.
Are parents involved in this as well? I've heard that some of them are also signing some cards.
Yeah, and it's true. That's really been an offshoot. But it's been a way for parents to say to their teenagers, listen, we believe in what you're doing, and we feel a need to commit ourselves afresh to each other, to be faithful to each other. So it's not just a teenager isolated incident. It's a family thing.
So we commend you for your work.
Well, it's exciting.
Appreciate you being with us.
Thank you.
Well, if you're trapped in a sexual sin, then you won't want to miss our next segment with David Foster. We'll be right back.
Pornography basically is a sin of idolatry, and most people see it as a victimless crime, but it's not.
Well, welcome back. We have with us David Foster, and he is the founder and director of Mastering Life Ministries. He's also the author of this book, Sexual Healing. We're glad to have you with us.
Thank you for inviting me.
All right. There's a whole lot of things you're into. You have your own radio show, as a matter of fact. What is the name of that?
It's called Mastering Life. It's a weekly program on the Focus on the Family satellite network.
Well, let's find out about this book, Sexual Healing. Who needs sexual healing?
Well, the book is designed actually to equip the church. Most people who have best friends who come up to them and confess sexual sin have no idea what to do. They'll send them off to some expert, but in most cases, the best friend will not go see the expert. They're too embarrassed. So what I'm called to do, I believe, in the church today is to help equip the church to know how to respond to best friends who confess sexual sin.
Is there a number one sin that people are involved in as an addiction, sexual addiction?
No, it pretty much covers the gamut.
Of it. Okay.
But the number one core problem that causes people to act out with sexual sin is a failure to understand intimacy with the Father and to develop that kind of relationship with God.
So when you have your seminars, what kind of people do you get?
Well, about half the people that come are counselors and pastors and ministry team people trying to learn how to help sexually broken people. And the other half are people who need help themselves. And it's a marvelous combination because at the end of the seminar, these two groups mix together and a lot of healing takes place.
And one of the things you offer is a video cassette. You have, 3 volumes of these?
Yes, there are 15 tapes in all. Early on in the seminar, we talk about the spiritual foundations that must be laid in one's life for healing. Intimacy with the Father, learning the voice of God, letting Him reparent you, those sorts of things. And then the next day in the seminar, we cover homosexuality, sexual addiction, child abuse, pornography, those sorts of issues.
About pornography, teenagers all go through, I assume, looking at pictures of whether it's nude men or nude women. How prevalent is that among adults, and is it growing in this country?
Well, it's as epidemic as everything else in the sexual sin area is in this country. We are out of control totally, not only outside the church but inside the church. Pornography basically is a sin of idolatry. And most people see it as a victimless crime, but it's not. Because I used to be involved in the pornographic industry, and the people who are photographed in that industry are people who have been emotionally destroyed. They are not people who go willingly, voluntarily, like you see on the talk shows. When they're on the talk show, their pimp is off stage making sure they say the right thing. But these people have been kidnapped, some of them have been psychologically tormented and controlled and manipulated, and they are taking their clothes off for the pictures, not because they want to, but because it's the only way they've discovered to find some worth and value for themselves.
What is the hardest thing to overcome these people, whether they're pedophiles or whether they're just into pornography or they're, whatever their problem is? What is the hardest thing in them coming back from something like that?
Well, particularly for the pedophile, the hardest thing to overcome is hopelessness. And you'll find this a lot in sex addicts. Most of the people who come to me for help are in a state of hopelessness because they've tried everything and nothing has worked. And so the best thing we can do for them is give them hope, teach them about the power of God and the authority of God, and give them hope so that they can stay in there long enough to let the Holy Spirit work in their lives to change their inner being.
And that's really up to the church, isn't it?
Yes. I was as sexually addicted as a person can possibly get, and God has transformed my life. And I know many people out there think that they're a special case, that they've stepped over some invisible line that God can't rescue them from, and they're absolutely wrong. There is no one, no matter what they've done, that God will not come and rescue and transform.
Is there another effective way to be delivered from this without having to come to God?
No, there isn't. Psychology is trying to do it with man's wisdom. And if somebody's strong-willed enough, they will succeed for a period of time and be fooled into thinking they're healed.
Just white-knuckle it.
Yes, but
yes.
It will only be temporary. Only an inner transformation by the Holy Spirit will bring about permanent transformation.
All right.
On that note, I guess we need to close. So God has to be in the picture
Yes.
in dealing with sexual addiction.
He's got another book coming out, as a matter of fact.
Okay, what is that?
Along those lines?
Yes, I'm writing it now. It's going to be called Lord, Make Me Holy, which is the cry of every sex addict.
Appreciate you being with us.
Thank you.
David Foster.
All right.
Next up, we'll meet Mr. Plummer in Plummer's Country Store. So stay with us.
Put your feet together, look straight forward, stretch your arms where it'll barely touch that stovepipe. Pull it up, rub your elbow 3 times. It'll shorten your arm around 3 inches.
You know, it's said that laughter is the best medicine, and if that's the truth, then one place to go for a refill is Plummer's Country Store and Museum.
That's right. And if you like practical jokes,
I do.
You'll like Mr. Plummer. He even has a collection of white bees.
White bees?
That's right. Here's today's Souder and Friends classic.
Morning, sir.
Hi.
Come in. A little hot, isn't it?
Yeah, it's hot.
Try a little of that spring water. It should cool you off a little.
Okay.
We're famous for that spring water there. See them springs in that bowl? That's what it is. That's spring water. Take a look at those white bees.
White bees?
Yeah, in that box there. Lift the lid real slow. Be careful. Don't get them disturbed. See, aren't they white?
They're white bees, yeah.
White bees.
Yeah.
White bees. Let them be.
How would you describe this place here?
I would describe it as a benefit to a lot of people from a psychological viewpoint. Sometimes it helps if you say hooey.
Oh, it does?
Try.
Oh, all right.
Yeah,
Now,
hooey.
like calling a pig?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh,
Hooey.
all right. Hooey.
A little bit louder.
Hooey.
Put your feet together, look straight forward, stretch your arms where it'll barely touch that stovepipe. Pull it up, rub your elbow 3 times. It'll shorten your arm around 3 inches. But this is what happens if you do too much. See how much it shortens that arm? This is used in chivalry when a new couple got married. When they set up housekeeping a week or 2, they'd slip up the house and do this about time they went to bed. He'd come out, look all around the house, couldn't see a thing, get back in the house, and he'd go again. Usually by that time, his wife was ready to go home to Mama. Folks, this is our museum. There's over 1,100 pieces here. Quite a bit of it's been donated. All of it is before electricity and plastic. This is the forerunner of all your blenders that you got in your house today. Can you see that, how it operates? That's just a few of the items in this museum. This is a deadly weapon. It's known as a Tennessee switchblade. Now there's the Plummer Creed right over there. Part of that came from Mennonites. But that's what we taught our children, is be yourself. Don't try to copy it from nobody else. Now this is your side. If you get this even, right here, both parts even, you've got as good a coon call as you'll ever need. Tear this end off. Here, coon, here, coon, here, here, here. Come, coon, here, here, here. Get out on your knees, Wilbur. Come on, both knees. Wave your arm. Now he's going to disco. Oh, he's getting tired now. Tell him bye, Wilbur.
And they put the ring right on the string like this, and we pull the ends down until they meet like this. We say alakazam and pull it through the ring. Now maybe you didn't watch that.
That was pretty
That is
good.
witchcraft.
I'll show.
Well, welcome back to ID-21 and the That's Entertainment segment. And we have with us amateur magician Bill Bennett. Glad to have you with us.
Thank you, Larry. Glad to be here.
Right.
Yes, and how long have you been doing magic?
Susan and I started doing magic when I was in the 4th grade. I saw a magician called Mandrake the Magician at the Princess Theater on Church Street back in 1948. It inspired me to go to the library and look up some books and study a little bit, and about 2 weeks later I gave my first show.
I've seen posters of that fellow, but you saw him in person?
Live.
Ah.
Mandrake the
Makes you look
Magician.
Been on the stage with Blackstone Magician and with Mandrake and with several others.
Yeah.
1948, you were taking your children to those things
Yes,
at that
sir,
time, weren't you?
And
Yes.
you, we won't get into that.
We won't get into that. All right. Let's. Can we see some samples of what you do?
Sure. You know, there's a lot of different magic today, and you can do close-up magic, or you can do stage magic, or you can do all different types of magic. Coin magic is a lot of fun, and I'll show you a little coin trick with a...
Watch close.
This is a Mexican centava and a $50, and if you'll notice, the centava is just a little bit smaller than the $50. And Larry, if you'd hold out your hand, please.
Oh, my hands.
And I'm going to just put these two coins in your hands, and if you just close them together just like that.
Okay.
Now then, if you would like, change coins, put one coin in each hand. Okay?
Okay.
Just
a second.
All right.
Okay.
All right, you got one coin in each hand?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now if I were a betting man, which I'm not,
No.
but I would say you had a silver coin in this hand. But if you didn't want me to bet on that hand, I'd bet on this hand. Because actually you got a silver coin in both hands, because I have the Mexican centava. What do you have?
Well, let's see. Pretty amazing. Pretty amazing.
You have the $50 and a quarter.
Now, is that witchcraft or magic?
No, this is magic. Now, there's a difference in witchcraft and magic. Magicians today just do sleight of hand, and we claim no power whatsoever. Everything that we do is just pure tricks.
Pure deception.
Deception with sleight of hand, with just different moves.
Do you think people like to be fooled?
People love to be fooled. Children love it particularly, but adults like it even more than children. They like to be entertained, and they don't care about how it's done. They just want to see something that mystifies them. When
Now,
you can't figure it out, it's really amazing.
I think now that I can go and enjoy somebody like doing tricks, you know, doing magic tricks, whatever, but I think some of the kids of today go out and they see David Copperfield and whatever, and unless you can make a Boeing 747 disappear, they're not interested.
Really
How do you do
difficult
with children?
It's really difficult to do children's shows because, like you say, TV has really got them to where they're looking for the spectacular. And not only that, there's a thing called misdirection in magic, where if I snap my fingers over here, you'll look at that. Children won't. They look what I'm doing over here, so they catch you sometime. And that's part of magic, is misdirection.
Fool me again, fool me
all right,
again.
Fool you again. All right, if you would hold that just a minute, please. And here we have a ring.
You can trick her easy.
If you'd hold that ring, and if you'd let me have the belt. My wife had this belting material, and she was using it, and I got it from her, and I borrowed this little ring from my daughter, and they put the ring right on the string like this, and we pull the ends down until they meet like this. We say alakazam and pull it through the ring. Now maybe you didn't watch that.
That is witchcraft.
I'll show you. I'll show you that once more.
I liked
we'll
it.
put the ring right on the string like this, you see. And what we'll do is pull the end around and loop it around there like this, snap our fingers, and right off the top. Now that's called impenetrability, the law of impenetrability, where two things can't occupy the same space at once, but it evidently has to when it passes through the rope. Now there's 3 ways to put the ring on the string. You can put the ring on like this. This is one way. Of course, another way would be to bring the string around here and put it on like this. 2 ways. But the way that I like to put the ring on is just take it straight up top, say alakazam, and right on the center, just like that, you see. 3 ways to put a ring on a string.
Now, did you see what he did?
Now,
We're going to play the tape real slow after this is over with.
It's a little sleight of hand, which is a lot of fun. And it's fun to fool people with sleight of hand. A lot of times magicians are asked, though, to make things appear, disappear, and of course we might can try something like that, like this. The old red handkerchief
That's a clean
trick.
one, too.
Put this here, make a hole right in the center, pass our hand right around like this. Now maybe you weren't watching close enough. Did you see that balloon in the hole?
No.
You didn't see that. Now we'll make that balloon go right through the silk handkerchief, just like this, you see. It disappears.
That's pretty nifty, huh?
Disappears here,
Pretty nifty.
and it went right into the hand right here. Now the real trick, though, to this is to make the balloon completely. Just push it down in there really good and tight like this, you see, and you just make it all disappear.
I bet it's in his mouth or something.
He's going to pull it out of your ear or something.
So magic is a lot of fun.
Now, how long did that take to learn a trick like that?
Not very long once you know how. It takes a little practice with some of them, but most of them not very long.
Now, Christian people sometimes have a little trouble with magic tricks.
Yes. Back in the olden days, you know, we read in the Bible the magicians, and they claim to be sorcerers, or they claim to be wizards. They're getting their power from some evil spirit or from spirit world, and we don't claim any such thing. Magicians today are just people like myself that have no power whatsoever. We just entertain people with magic or with trickery. That's a good, clean entertainment.
And appreciate you being with us.
Yes,
He's good, isn't he?
Thank you. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. Next week on the show, we have Dr. Frank Scott with us. He's going to talk about raising kids in a happy, healthy home. And also, we got a segment on flowers.
Yes, we do. I have Rita Maggart coming next week, and Rita has Something Beautiful by Rita, and she's going to show us how to teach children how to make flower arrangements.
I want to see that.
I do too.
Okay. Also coming up, Alan Root will be here. He's a producer of some children's videos, and one of those is called Writing Backwards in the Back. And we'll leave you with a clip of that and say goodbye and see you next week.
All right.
So long.
Thank you.
Well, some like riding shotgun, some like the wheel. Some folks think the middle just has special appeal. Some hang their arms out, couples are trying. Me, I like riding backwards in the back. And I like riding backwards in the back. It's not too bad as long as the wheels stay in the track. I love the wind and I love the sky, and I love to watch the world roll by, and I like riding backwards in the back. Well, everyone is different from the way we all are. It's not that we're all weird, it's just there's no such thing as part. It tells of a creator who takes a different